Good morning and welcome to a random Tuesday in December. Today I thought I'd show you some wholesome meals that I've been eating in a day recently as a vegan. When I was younger, I can remember looking at food as something that I should fear, something that I had to restrict to look a certain way, or something that people were judging me for consuming. But as I've grown older, I've really come to understand the importance of nourishing my body, my mind, and my soul when it comes to food. And now I love it. I love cooking and eating and knowing what foods make me feel energized, nourished, and happy. I feel like Tofu Scramble is this typical vegan breakfast, but honestly I think it's popular for a reason. I make this Tofu Scramble by starting with some plant-based butter in a frying pan, and then I crumble in my tofu. Then I add enough soy milk to submerge the tofu, and this is going to make it super creamy, followed by some veggie stock powder, vegan beef stock powder, garlic powder, onion powder, turmeric, nutritional yeast, and some Dijon mustard. I mix it all together on medium heat and I leave it to reduce for about 20 minutes, making sure to stir it occasionally. I'm still obsessed with bagels, and to be honest I really need to get back into making them myself. Today I'm using some store-bought ones and I'm toasting them and topping them with some vegan butter. Then I pile on that tofu scramble. I also add on some chunks of some avocado, and then I also added on some fresh chives. Good morning. It is a tofu scramble on bagel kind of morning, and whenever I make tofu scramble, I always thank myself for it when I'm having breakfast, because this tofu scramble recipe is seriously so delicious. I did not like tofu scramble at all until I had it made for me this way, and now it is on regular breakfast rotation for me. Today I'm going to bring you along and show you what I'm eating in a day, but in particular today I really wanted to show you some wholesome recipes that I really enjoy, that make me feel really energized and nourished, and they also taste really, really good. I also want to say a big thank you to my friends at Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. If you want that tofu scramble recipe, it is on my website amandadux.com, and I created that website using Squarespace. I actually had some friends reach out to me this week and ask me for their recommendations when it comes to building a website, and I let them know that Squarespace is what I use and genuinely recommend for a handful of reasons, including the blogging features and the commerce backend, which are honestly my two favorite features of Squarespace, with a close third being how easy it is to be able to design the website yourself. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform to be able to host and design your website, and I genuinely love using it so much. If you are ever looking to host or design your own website, you can go to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, you can go to squarespace.com/amandadux, and you can use my code, which is amandadux, and that gets you 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Okay, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my tofu scramble bagel now, and then I'll catch up with you when it's time for us to make a very nourishing lunch. Lunch for me lately has been all about quick and easy meals, and in particular I've been loving this chickpea salad. I start by adding barbecue sauce, soy sauce, olive oil, garlic powder, onion powder, and smoked paprika to a bowl, and I mix it all together. Then I add in the drained and rinsed chickpeas, and I mix them well to ensure they get really well coated. I've been loving my air fryer this summer as it emits way less heat than my oven, and it also cooks things a lot quicker. So I added these barbecue chickpeas into the air fryer and I cooked them for about 20 minutes until they were nice and crispy. I also prepped some fresh veg, which for me in a salad is typically some cucumber, some cherry tomatoes, and some fresh greens. A creamy sauce was next, which was just some vegan mayo, some Dijon mustard, and some lemon juice, which I mixed together with a little bit of water to thin it out. Once the chickpeas were cooked and nice and crispy, I added all of the ingredients to a salad bowl, as well as some homemade cashew parmesan, which I had left over in the fridge from earlier in the week. Honestly, this like super elevates any kind of salad, so I definitely recommend adding it to your meal prep rotation. Then I simply mix all of this together super well and I transfer it into a serving bowl. If I ever have leftovers when I make something like this, I just store it in the fridge for up to 3 days as an extra lunch or a snack. I'm also still loving my kombucha, and it went down very, very well with this lunch. So we all probably know by now how much I love a sweetie treaty. I love having a little sweet treat in the afternoon, and today I thought I would prep some of these, like, I'm gonna call them kind of like a predominantly whole food brownie batter bowl. That's definitely too long of a name. I will come up with something better in the meantime, but they're just this idea that I have based off of another recipe that I make relatively frequently, and I thought today could be the day that I finally try making them. Okay, apron on to ensure I don't get this white t-shirt all dirty, which I tend to do with so many of my clothes. So when it comes to making any kind of sweet treat like this, I always use some sort of nut butter, and at the moment I've been really enjoying using cashew butter because I find it to be super neutral in flavor, and it allows the other flavors of everything else you put in to really come out. So I'm gonna add this in first today because I am sort of doing this recipe kind of from scratch, and I don't want to add too many dry ingredients because having them too dry is not an option basically. So I'm literally going to empty this entire jar of cashew butter in here because trust me, we get through the sweetie treaties in this house. Next, I'm adding in some almond meal. You could also substitute this for coconut flour or oat flour, but you might need to add a little more or a little less of them if you do decide to do something different. I'm also gonna add in some cocoa powder as well as some vanilla protein powder. This is the protein powder that I use. It's by Macro Mike, and the vanilla buttercream is my favorite, but they have loads of really good flavors. I'm also going to add in some maple syrup as well as a crack of salt. And now the moment of truth, we see how well this all mixes together. So then what I do is place a piece of baking paper onto a plate, and then I roll the dough into balls and put them onto the baking paper that is on the plate, and then put that in the fridge for them to set a little bit whilst I am melting some chocolate. And we don't have a microwave, so I am melting these dark chocolate chips over the stove today. So I'm pretty confident that I don't actually have enough chocolate to fully coat all of these. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do like a dollop of melted chocolate on top of all of these, and hopefully it will still work out, and I'm sure it's still gonna be super delicious, but yeah. Alright, these are going in the fridge to set, and we will give them a taste test later on today. There may be a couple of minor tweaks that I would make to this recipe, but overall, these are absolutely delicious. I started dinner tonight by dicing a brown onion. This is going to be the first ingredient in a delicious, hearty pasta dish that we eat super regularly in our home. I added the diced onion to a frying pan with a bit of olive oil, and then I also grated in a carrot too. I didn't have any fresh garlic on hand, so I added some garlic powder as well as some smoked paprika and some mixed herbs. I started mixing that all together, adding in some tomato paste as well as some water to make it a delicious base for the rest of our pasta sauce. In a large bowl, I added in some TVP, which is textured vegetable protein. To be honest, I used to be super grossed out by this stuff because the texture is so similar to mince, but over time I've really come to enjoy it, and I love the hardiness that it adds to a dish. To the TVP, I add some vegan beef stock, veggie stock powder, smoked paprika, nutritional yeast, and some boiling water. I cover it with a tea towel and leave it to sit for a few minutes, and then add to the frying pan with the rest of the ingredients. I also added in some brown lentils, and then I mixed it together, adding in some passata as well as some salt and pepper to taste. I continue mixing this all together, leaving it on a low-medium heat to simmer away whilst I prepare the rest of the dinner. I love having greens with my dinner, and lately with this pasta, I've been loving having both kale and broccoli. Tonight I decided to have both, so I chopped them up roughly and added them to a frying pan with some plant-based butter, cracked pepper, nutritional yeast, and veggie stock powder. I mix it all together, leaving it to fry up for about 15 minutes until all of the flavour has soaked up. And then when it comes to serving, I place some cooked spaghetti into the bowls, I top it with the lentil TVP bolognese sauce, and then I add the greens, followed by some more of that delicious cashew parmesan. This pasta has honestly become such a staple for me over the past few months. I feel like we eat it every single week and it is so hearty and so delicious. I love having it with the crispy broccoli and the kale for an extra bit of veg, and it's also a really good one to meal prep for the week ahead. It's super hearty, packed full of flavor, packed full of nutrients. Just a great all-round wholesome delicious meal. So this is going to be my dinner tonight and is also going to bring us to the end of what I eat in a day. I hope you enjoyed today's video and got a fun new meal idea to try out at home. As always, thanks so much for being here. Hope you have a very beautiful day and week ahead, and I will look forward to seeing you next week with another video. Bye!